song from 2000s that's like doon 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 doon. I don't wanna waste my time.
I think that's Blink 182.
No, it's not.
Oh,
Is it? Is?
wait. I don't want. No, that's Sum 41. I think it is that
Okay, so I'm thinking of a different song though. Cause like the song that I'm starting is like
song. Is it Fall Out Boy? Sure,
no,
we're going down.
no.
Is it Newfound Glory?
Yeah, I think it's Newfound Glory. I found it.
Oh yeah.
Dirty Little Secret, All American
Oh
Rejects.
my god, I used to love that song.
I was thinking, why don't we use that as a theme? No, okay. So, no. I didn't know you were recording.
Well, I'm not going to use this part.
Thank God.
Do-do-do.
Ding, 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 ding,
Dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee-dee.
I'll keep you my
Dirty little secret.
Don't tell anyone or you'll be just
Dirty
another
little
replay.
Be my dirty little secret. Hey, ho, this is the ODcast. Hey, ho, this is the ODcast. Hey, ho, this is the ODcast. Hey, yo, this is the ODcast. Hey, yo, this is the ODcast. Hey, yo.
Hello and welcome to a special spooky edition of the ODcast where we're going to talk about death and embalming and putting bodies in the ground. Interviewing the ODcast's own Oscar about his former career as a funeral director.
You know, I don't know how many episodes it is. 18, 19 episodes. And I feel very uncomfortable on this one. Very, very awkward, uncomfortable. Kind of like I don't want to talk about it.
Well, let's get to the bottom of that. Are you afraid of pissing off people you used to work with? Is that why you're scared, or is it just revisiting a dark time in your life, or what is it exactly?
Yes, to all of that. And also, like I don't mind talking about what we do, but I also do know that talking about it can ruin a lot of things of how perspectives of certain people, perspective of what the culture is of death in America. Because people,
That's fascinating, though.
Yeah, but I've noticed here in America, ignorance is bliss. They don't want to know what happens.
I know. That's kind of why I wanted to talk to somebody who used to work in that industry, because it is like an industry. Like, people make money and it's profitable, and I mean, it has to be. You got a lot of people are involved in making that stuff run smoothly, so it needs to make money. But we do, as a culture, try to ignore death as much as possible, and it's why I think Halloween is pretty profound part of the year where you openly like reflect on it in a humorous kind of playful way, but it's still like the one part of the year where everyone's not scared to think about death.
And also, I mean, granted, that's the beauty of us doing this kind of stuff is like we don't know what exactly we're going to talk about. You know, that's the magic of the episodes. It just goes not haywire, but it just goes very weird. Like there's no structure. There is, but there isn't. So that's another reason I'm afraid, because I don't know what you're going to ask me or what we're going to talk about. But I do want to do a preface. Like if we're going to talk about something serious or emotional, are you ready to open up about your own life too?
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Because I don't know if you're going to ask me things that are personal or like, why did you do it, Oscar? And then like start talking, go into like an autobiographical soliloquy about it. So
Well, like, why did you go into that line of work?
Yeah.
I mean, I am kind of curious. Hang on, I'm just making sure. Okay, both mics are working.
Both mics are working.
I mean, this is the paradox of you, Oscar, is that you're a very open and like I always think you're extroverted and you always deny it, but I think you're an extrovert. You gain energy from socializing with people.
I guess I do, but I'm also very introvert because I get tired very easily. Or like certain people, like when I go in my extrovert social ways, and this is my problem. It's a me problem. Like there are certain people who drain me, like, and I just don't want to do anything for a while.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I mean. It's a me problem because I let people suck the energy out of me.
Yeah, I think you're totally normal. Everyone has people that drain them and people who give them energy. I wasn't even really talking about the social aspect, but more your openness about your life and like secrets, as you might call them. You have a lot of secrets. I feel you don't openly talk about a lot of more personal things, including like work. I don't know. You rarely talk about your the details of your current job or your former job.
I have a story to tell you. One time I was hanging out with a friend, ex-friend, and we were just hanging out at his condo or his apartment, and I heard the neighbor upstairs calling his friends up. And it's Sunday night, calling his friends up, and I guess trying to check up on them and all that stuff. But when I heard that conversation, I told myself, I don't want to be that guy. So what he did is he had his round robin of friends. He called Alex. Hey, Alex, how's it going? How was your weekend? He just let him talk for a little bit. Just for a little bit. And then afterwards, he's like, well, I worked 80 hours a week, man. My life sucks. It's like when I heard that conversation, he did that with every friend, because it lasted like 20 minutes of conversation, but it felt like longer because he called every friend he has, said the same thing. So I told myself, nobody wants to hear about their complaints about work. And that's not, what he's doing is not something friendly. He's just venting or bragging. It was a weird, like, cry for help and also bragging. Is like, I'm tougher than you because I suffer more than you. I don't want to be that person. So that's one of the reasons why I don't talk about work.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Wait, so that happened a long time ago and it kind of permanently altered your perspective on talking, like complaining about stuff?
Yeah, like has that ever happened to you when you eavesdrop in a conversation and that eavesdrop kind of like changed your view of life for a bit? I guess that's one of them. That's one of them that happened right there.
Specifically an eavesdrop, I feel like I can't think of a specific example. That's interesting though. That reminds me of the scene in Office Space where the guy listens to his next door neighbor, or like his neighbor's always knocking on the wall trying to hang out with him. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, with the beer.
Yeah.
And then halfway through is like, hey man, question, how do you ruin evidence, or how do you do this or what? And like just told him to burn the whole place? Or made a little joke?
He gave him advice about their crime scheme.
Yeah.
I thought that was like an incredibly brilliant movie when I first saw it.
Fantastic. Oh, have you seen it recently?
Not in a while, but I want to rewatch it, especially because we just finished Band of Brothers, and I'm a big Ron Livingston fan now.
Dude, that movie is great. I think it stands the test of time. I forget the name of the director, but he did King of the Hill, all of those movies.
Oh yeah, Mike Judge.
Mike Judge is.
Did he do Beavis and Butthead too?
Yeah, that's why he's a comedic genius. He can make stupid comedy and can also make intellectual comedy.
Do you know if he wrote stuff like Office Space too?
I think he wrote Office Space as well.
Okay.
Because before he decided to do animation, he was an engineer. And I think he really took Office Space as like his personal like magnus opus, because he really felt that before he started going on the creative route. And he wanted to write about the struggles of the American working space.
Hey, perfect segue about professional life in America. The funeral industry is a big industry. So, I mean, this ties in perfectly to what we were just saying about you kind of keeping your cards close to the chest, because I've known you, I don't know, like 15 years or something at this point, maybe close to that. And when you went into that line of work, you didn't really talk about why. Why did you go into the funeral directing business? Was it just like a career that you knew would be somewhat lucrative and like you felt like you could handle the job description? Because I feel like a lot of people, they would think of that and be like creeped out and not think they could handle it. I don't think I would want to do that job.
That's a good question, man. Look at you. You really do know how to ask people the right questions or interview them.
I mean, that's literally the question you said you didn't want to talk about, but I'm asking you anyway. Why did you do that?
But you worded it so kindly that I didn't even feel the pressure of it. So maybe
you thought I would just
Barbara Walters taking notes from me right now.
From the grave.
Oh,
she's dead, right?
Is she?
I don't know.
Okay, there's many layers to that question, or many layers for me to answer that question. Like one, part of it is lucrative. I did want to work at a place where I just felt like I would make lots of money. Not lots of money, but just I would be not struggling. How about that? 2, personal reasons. 3rd, philosophical reasons. Those are the main ones. So let me go with the lucrative one. Like I knew, like this always still lingers in my head, even now, that maybe even with you is still lingering in your head. That in the future, certain jobs will not exist anymore because of the technology and of artificial, intelligence, or just how technology is improving way vast to the point that some of these jobs that we consider essential are not essential anymore. So before I went to the funeral industry business, I felt like I was working at a dead-end job. Not a call center, so to say, but I did work on the phones a lot and had to deal with annoying customers and then trying to not manipulate, but convince my worker to, hey, you have to do this, and trying to make them feel better. I felt like I was trying to be the mediator of dealing with the BS of people calling, complaining, and then trying to soften the blow by telling my technician, like, hey, this happened, you got to go. And like, these people are older than me, and they're, I thought that one would think that, hearing this, they would understand, but some people are still act like kids or babies, and they're just 50, 60 years old. Like, they haven't matured. So I've noticed that pattern, and I just wanted to get out of that. So I've always told myself, working with death will always be a go-to job, because no form of technology could take that away from you. Unless there's a robot who can do all of that stuff. But in the end, I don't think that could happen. Even robots will make mistakes in that situation.
So specifically, what aspects need the human intervention? Because when I think of it, like if someone dies in the future, like 100, 200 years from now, I don't see why like a robot couldn't pick up the dead body and put it incinerate it or bury it if we still do that.
There's a bit of the cultural and sentimental aspect. Like, you get a call at 2:00 in the morning to pick up grandma because grandma died. Do you want a robot to do that? Will the robot know what kind of situation to do when picking up grandma? Like the dynamics of the architecture of the house, how to put the cot, placing the cot and moving the body towards the cot. And do you think the robot can pick up the vessel that is a human body and moving it to the cot in a gentle-like manner?
Right. For a second, I thought you were saying the word cart with a Boston accent. Put the body on the cot.
God, no, I wish I had a Boston accent.
Put the cot in Harvard Yard. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. And especially the sentimental aspect that dealing. So that's something you had to deal with a lot, is like interacting with family members as immediately after they've lost someone.
And that's the job that's a portion of the job I miss the most.
Really?
Yeah. Connecting with a stranger.
How would you try to be? Would you be like try to be kind of objective in the situation and not overly emotional? Like for you, it's a job, so you're not emotionally invested.
I mean, you try to show emotion, but also be objective. Like, don't be blunt. Like, oh, okay, picking up your grandma. All right, we'll be there in an hour. Bye. It's not like ordering a pizza. You'd be like, okay, sorry to hear your loss. How much time do you need? Okay, with the situations that we're going on right now, we'll be there within 60 minutes, give or take.
How much time? So you would often ask how much time they need to like get ready?
Sometimes. Another thing we get annoyed with them is like, they call us and they say, hey, so-and-so died. Okay, cool, we can pick it up now. And they're like, no, give us 6 hours. And then
to destroy evidence or
no, something like that or whatever. And I kind of get annoyed by that. Because like, then why the fuck did you call? Why don't you do your thing, and when you're ready, just call? But at the same time, I have to think about this perspective. Maybe it's their first time experiencing death. They don't know what's going on. Yeah, but it's just annoying because, like, I guess to summarize this whole episode is, even the things that you enjoy will be ruined by capitalism. Because that's one of the main reasons why I left the industry, because what I found touching and endearing on this industry, I just didn't care for it anymore because the love of money was more important than the love of taking care of someone else.
And were those decisions made by your bosses that wanting to monetize the whole process more than you felt was warranted?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see there being a lot of like, upsell them on the nicest coffin or the nicest urn.
There are people who does that. There are other people who doesn't do that. So some people care more about the numbers. Like, okay, so one thing that we say in the funeral industry, we say calls, like how many calls you do in a year. So that means, jobs that you do at a certain year,
Was there like a quota you were supposed to hit or something?
Not a quota we're supposed to hit because there's no exact quota.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, we made 150 calls last year. Let's do the same thing next year. We'll see how it happens, So that means, 150, because it all varies what it is. It's not always a traditional job. A traditional means, embalming and burying them. Sometimes it's a cremation or just cremation only. Sometimes it's a ship out where, you do the work and then ship it out to another state or country or ship in. So moments like that, that's what we call calls, just, whatever the job entails.
Okay. And for your specific funeral home to get the call, that person had to look you up online or whatever and choose you, because there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
Like, you can't control whether you're getting business or not.
And there's a lot of people who, go shop around, go from one funeral home to another.
For the same death? Like they'll try multiple to get the best deal or something?
Yep.
So you immediately are like quoting them a price to take care of their loved one on the phone?
My bosses wouldn't let me do that. So what we did is we just take their name and number, and then we told them we'll call them back, and then they'll do that. So
I'm a little confused as to the protocol, because for some reason I thought there'd be like some professional medical personnel involved in dealing with a recent death. Like, are funeral homes licensed to deal with biohazard stuff?
All right, so let's just not keep it simple, but let's just layer it down a bit. If it was a death that people knew what it was, like a natural death, like if an 80-year-old dying and they want to have hospice in their home, as long as the nurse is there and told us the date of death and all that stuff, and the nurse gives us the go-ahead, great, we can pick up that person, to the funeral home. But if it was unnatural, like a suicide or a homicide, we can't pick it up until you call the cops. And then the cops would give us the go-ahead, and then we'll pick it up.
Okay.
Or we have to take it to a coroner or a morgue so they can do more investigation.
And you would be in charge of taking it to the morgue?
Depending on the county. depending on the county.
Different counties have different rules.
Oh
too.
yeah. Cook County. No matter where it died in Cook County, you had to take it to the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office, which is in Chicago.
No matter any cause of death, even like a natural 80-year-old.
No, natural death they don't care. I mean, as long as they have evidence that that's what they died of, then perfect. But if it was unnatural, suicide, homicide, et cetera, et cetera.
Gotcha.
No matter what time of day, you pick it up. You drop it off right then and there. They're open 24/7. If it was King County, you can, they call the funeral home and all that stuff, and the funeral home can drop off the body at working hours. Like, the more rural the locations are, the more loosey-goosey they are. I remember picking up a body from a morgue. I forget which county, but it was all on the west side, like close to Rockford, Marengo area. And I had to call them up. Normally, like, when you call, like, someone's already there. This person was on their lunch break or on their, like, some kind of break. They weren't there. I had to wait like 10, 15 minutes for them to get back to their office and open the door for me. See, again, very rural back there.
They were at their office, or no?
They weren't there.
You were supposed to pick up a body at an office?
Well, I mean, the coroner's office. I mean, the morgue office or someone. Someone has to open the door for me to pick up the body.
I see.
But they weren't there. They were at lunch.
I thought this was like the fresh scene of a death, but picking up from the coroner.
Yeah, it's like some people take these jobs, as an office job, and
yeah,
it's just the situation might be weird, just dealing with a dead body for medical examiners, not medical, like coroner's office and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever work any clear, like, violent crimes?
Yeah.
And stuff like that?
Yeah.
But you would have to get the okay from the police.
Yeah.
But would you be at the scene, or would they already take it to a morgue or something?
No, I'm at the scene.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm at the scene.
What's that like? Do you have any stories of, like,
boy.
The most intense ones like that?
Yeah, I got one that popped in my head. Obviously, I'm not going to say names. I'm doing my best to keep it vague, anonymous as possible, just to be respectful. But before that, let's take a shot.
Yeah.
Let's take a shot for a good episode.
I like it so far.
All right, I'm going to say this one. All right, so I got a call around 2 a.m. from my boss. My boss does not do removals because, I mean, it makes sense. He's done it for a while. He just doesn't want to do it anymore. He hires people to do them. That's it. I think at this time I was the second person responsible for it. There's a list, like a person does it first, and if they need help, backup, like a house removal compared to a nursing home, they call the second person just for help. I was the second person, I believe. So my boss calls me up, which I found it weird, 2 a.m, because the other guy was supposed to call me, not him. So according to that, the first guy did not answer, so he had to do it. So he calls me, I come and see him at our the logistics of the place, and then we go to the home, and the home is a fancy house. The neighborhood is fancy. It's like one of those, like, mansion neighborhoods, cookie cutter mansion neighborhoods. We see the cops, and we have, like, the PPO, for the biohazard stuff, because we don't know what we're going to experience. And so far, we enter the house. Everything is clean. Everything is very clean, decorative, and all that stuff. We go to the second floor. We go to the bedroom, and the smell is so strong. The smell is of iron, IRON.
Like blood?
Blood is everywhere.
Wow.
Blood is everywhere. I guess the guy was sleeping. It was a male person, was sleeping on the right side of the bed, and the floor is right, the wall is right there, and there's like a little hall a little space for him that he made. Mm-hmm. Shot himself. So the gun was there. The blood in the wall was everywhere, and portion of his body was also covered in blood. Yeah. So that then led me believe that the body was there for a while.
But you said the main smell was iron, but wouldn't a body be decomposing and smell really?
It doesn't. The bodies decompose very slowly.
Oh, really?
The smell of iron is very strong. Very, very strong.
Okay.
So we go there, and we're like, geez, damn. Because we're trying to, like, the first thing I think about is, like, okay, we're going to put this body in the cot, and then we have to take it downstairs. And, I mean, luckily there was space, but at the same time there was not enough space. It was still just annoying to move around.
Could you move the bed a little?
No, it was a very thick bed, like a very heavy bed. Again, a fancy house, right?
Yeah.
And you know, the cot is also heavy. Like, so we had to move the cot too with the body in there. So, and then my boss is there, and my boss is all about kind of making it into like a performance, making sure that everything is neat. We're touching everything. We don't want to make that much damage. We don't want to make that much, you know, much of a mess, even though the job is messy, you know, that we want to do our best not to make it messier.
Your boss was there? I thought your boss called you to do it for them, like, because they didn't want to.
But it's a 2-person job, so he had to do it too.
Oh, so he called you to help them.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And okay, this is where it's going to get a little bit aggressive. Like, this is the part where I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm going to say this. There are certain cops that will not help you at all. And I get it to an extent because it's not their job. They're already dealing with a lot. But there are cops who are not even like trying to help or trying to be like help you move around. Some are, some aren't. Some are just don't even want to touch it. Some show their ego. I remember another one where the guy would just wanted to tell you what to do and talk everything out, but he doesn't want to touch it. He's like, all right, take a picture. Like, it was just, you definitely see an ego battle with other cops within a room of cops.
Wow.
So
sometimes cops will be like just going out of their way to help make it easier. They'll like pick
some
up a
are,
body
some
with
aren't,
you.
but there's a majority of them don't even help.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I kind of get that. It's their job is to investigate and make sure it's not like foul play and stuff.
Pretty much. So like when we were there, they asked us to move the body so they can take pictures of everything. Like take a picture of their back, you know, take off the you know, the pillows and everything and make sure everything's fine. So what my boss and I do, we normally grab this like plastic tarp and try to put the plastic tarp under him. So we put the plastic tarp and then we kind of move him, like not a burrito format, but like move him to the side, put the tarp under it, and then move it to the other side and put a tarp under it. And then hopefully with that, we can move the body to the cot, you know, without causing that much of a mess. But it was so, I wouldn't say it was hard, but it was like very challenging because the smell of iron was so strong. And I was already wearing a mask and everything. This is pre-COVID times too, but I was wearing a mask just to cover the smell, and it was very hard. I didn't puke or anything, but it was like very strong.
When I think of iron, it doesn't sound like it'd be like a nauseating smell. Knowing it's blood, it's obviously really gross, but like,
the smell of iron just for some reason it makes it stronger. It just the whole experience stronger. And then this is okay, now I'm getting graphic here, but this is the certain moments where the blood turns in purple, like reddish purple. Even some black spots too. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, anyways, we move the body to the cot. We're struggling to go downstairs, and I think some cops helped us along the way with that. Luckily, my boss didn't give me that much of a fuss about that. But right after that, since it was during Cook County area, I had to take the body to the Cook County morgue. Mm-hmm. So this 2:00 job turned into a 5:00 job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a car that's specifically designed to transport bodies?
We
a van or something?
I mean, my job that did that, they just used a van, just a Chevy.
So like an ambulance almost? It has
kind of, but like a bigger one. Like, you know how like construction workers have those big vans?
Yeah.
We used, that's what they used. You can, if you know directors use minivans a lot. They love minivans.
But a minivan, are all the seats in the back taken out or
it's
something?
taken out. Yeah, it's taken out.
Okay.
And they put a little floorboard. So
I was just wondering, was this guy clothed when he killed himself?
With their underwear.
And this guy lived in a nice big house.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
So I did some investigation.
Really?
Because right after that, because I used to work at a crematory, and our and our clients were funeral homes. So the funeral homes would hire the crematory to cremate the bodies because it would cost too much money, or it cost a lot of money if every funeral home had their own crematory. So sometimes they they don't third party it. I wouldn't say that, but they just hire someone else to do that. So we found out that family decided to go with one of the funeral homes that we went to, right? That we work with. And I talked to the funeral director about that, and he told me that the guy killed himself because his wife asked for a divorce. And this guy was also a doctor. So I'm guessing the pressure of his career and the pressure of his marriage was too much. And boom, dead. And he also had 2 or 3 kids.
Were they young?
I think they were young. They were young because this doctor, this person was late 40s.
Okay. Wow, that's some heavy stuff.
And this is another reason I don't like working in the funeral home, because then me being being very naive or like a kid, I told the funeral directors oh yeah, I picked him up. I picked up the body. I was there. And he got very aggressive. Like, you picked him up? It's like, yeah. Because the mentality of certain funeral directors or funeral owners is, I want that call. You took my money. That's the perspective of a lot of funeral homeowners. They get angry with other funeral directors or funeral homes. It's like, you took my call. You took my client. That should have been mine.
They called you, so you don't have a choice. You're not.
The police department called us.
Okay. That's bizarre.
Yeah, dude, it's a lot of petty drama.
Is it because they knew it was a wealthy person and they wanted to make a lot of money off the death or something?
There's many varieties, but I think a big portion of funeral homeowners, allegedly, I want to say everything of what I'm saying is allegedly, because I don't want to get sued for any of this. That's why I'm not even saying any exact details of what's going on. They just care more about the money. They have that mentality like, you took my money. In fact, I talked to another colleague of mine. We were coworkers, and he told me that he used to work for another funeral home at a different area. I don't know who they are or anything. The funeral home owner got angry at the funeral director for doing the funeral arrangement. What the funeral home owner allegedly, what majority of them want is more money for the situation. So they prefer traditional. A lot of people have that mentality, traditional funerals, which means, again, to bury them, embalm them, visitation, and bury them and all that stuff. Because it costs much more money. It's more money for everyone. It's profitable for the funeral homes and all that stuff. So my friend did this arrangement, and the family wanted a cremation. The funeral home owner got angry at my friend, saying, you should have upsell, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done blah, 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 blah. And then he yelled at the funeral, at my friend, and said, you are taking food away from my family. And then as that happened, the 19-year-old, their person's son, comes into the room wearing like Air Jordans, wearing like Louis Vuitton, wearing all this like fancy, nice clothing, after having the audacity of saying, you are taking food away from my family.
Oh, the funeral director's son.
Yeah, the owner's son.
Yeah,
said that, which when I heard that story, it get me so angry, because they have that mentality when they're already there living a good life.
I'm just curious. Have you done any research into how the funeral industry is handled in other countries where things are less capitalist minded? Is it allowed to have run such a profitable business out of funeral directing?
I haven't. The only thing I've done is research in Mexico.
Yeah, what's it like there?
But it's just me asking questions, and they're being very coy. They're not telling me that much because, again, I'm just a stranger asking these questions. But from the mentality I get is just they see it as a job, In their jobs, in some ways, I would say is just as stressful, if not more, because they plan to do the burial ASAP, like 2 to 3 days max. Here, we'd be like, okay, we'll do it in 2 weeks. We'll do it in 3 weeks. And a big reason that we take that long is because the family wants us to wait, because certain jobs, or for things for them to be convenient for them, you know?
Yeah. Were the bodies kept in somewhere cold until then?
Yeah.
I'm guessing,
Yeah.
like a morgue.
Yeah. So yes, they have like their own refrigerator, or we embalm them, and then the embalming is good enough for it to take a while for it to last in a normal temperature. But we also do things like that. We also put put air conditioning in the room. Like if it's a winter day, we sometimes we put air conditioning there that way to make it cold.
Just a standard residential air conditioning is enough to prevent a body from decomposing if it's been embalmed.
If it's been embalmed,
can we go into that process?
But if it hasn't been embalmed, we have to refrigerate it because holy moly. Yeah. Okay. So what's your question about embalming?
Like you did that work as well, not just what'd you call it, retrieval or picking? What is it called when you get a body from a house? You use a specific word that I forgot already.
I just forget.
Pick up, retrieve. I thought you said retrieval, but it could have been something else. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I say it all the time too, and I forget it. Yeah.
But you would also do embalming. Like, how often was that something you just did in the early part of your career?
No, just
or do you do it regularly whenever it's needed?
Okay, so this is the beauty of working or being an American, because I look at states as like mini countries, like small countries, because everyone has a different way of doing things. And then also I believe maybe funeral homes have a different way of doing things. So I'll give you an example. I talked to people from Wisconsin, and the funeral homes from Wisconsin, and what they normally do is like if they know for sure that the family wants an embalming and it's 2 a.m, they embalm the body right afterwards. So you pick up the body, and then you go to the funeral home, and then boom, you do the embalming right then and there. There are other funeral homes, like one that I work at. We pick up the body and say, all right, we'll call you tomorrow morning. Like let's just say it's 2 a.m, right? We pick up the body and we tell the family, okay, we're going to call you in the morning so we can arrange a funeral arrangement, right? We do the funeral arrangement, and then once we get the go-ahead from the family, we can do the embalming. So that's one process. So when the last funeral home that I did, that's what we did. We did the arrangement, and then once we get the go-ahead from the family, we embalm them.
Okay. So I don't know anything about the process. I know that maybe there's formaldehyde involved or something similar. Can you just go step by step?
All right.
Through the process.
Again, we're doing this in a respectful manner. So we put the body in this cold bed, like what's the name of the what toilets are used? That
toilets?
Yeah, toilets. What kind
porcelain?
Yeah, like a porcelain bed or a steel bed.
How is it made cold? Is there some kind of like cooling device?
It's already cold because of the room, and then there's water that we put. Since these beds has to be next to a sink, and then we have tubes that are connected. So we put it on the bed, and the bed is going diagonally, so the water's going there.
So the whole bed is kept wet with water the whole time and there's a body on top of it in that wet, cold water?
Yeah, and it's like a porcelain bed, so it's very cold already to the touch.
I never knew there was like water circulating around the slab you're using.
Yeah, but we're using tubes around it, and then connect it to the sink.
Okay.
Okay, and then
interesting.
We put the body on the bed, and then we have certain like blocks to move the body, like putting it on the legs, putting on the arms, putting on the neck, so that way we can adjust them how we want. While we're doing that as well, we also undress them. Okay, so this is where people are like, oh, I don't want to hear this. And we give them a wash one last time before we start the embalming process. And it gets very disgusting, There's a lot of bodily fluids, a lot of fecal matter that you have to clean out.
Yeah.
So
no matter what kind of death, there's more that comes out.
Yeah, and then it's even harder, or not disturbing. It's even you get used to it as well when it's a person that's elderly and there's like a colostomy bag, or there's some kind of like medical procedure they have, diabetes, cancer, et cetera, you know, things like that. So we have to remove those as well. We got edema as well. That's another thing.
What is that?
A lot of like liquids in your body.
Do you have to drain them out somehow?
Yeah, you have to drain them.
Puncturing?
Sometimes puncturing, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'm a little confused about the fecal matter. Like, I get if it was like right near the exit, about to come out when they died, it's gonna kind of naturally find its way out. But if there's like 20 feet or whatever of intestines, do you have to completely flush it all out to embalm them, or can you leave stuff in there?
Sometimes there's fecal matter out already.
Yeah, I get that, but do you have to go and like thoroughly like clean out their whole digestive
That's
system?
part of the embalming process, and that's in the end.
Whoa.
Yeah. You know, because I'm going to say this, and I know maybe I'm saying this for comedic purposes, but like, you know, as we're alive, we don't notice things we do that we're alive. And one of them is like putting pressure on our sphincter. We always do that all the time. Like us thinking about it now, we're putting it on there. If we don't, then shit will come out. So when you're done, you're not thinking those things anymore because you can't. So everything is out.
Relaxed.
Everything is loose. Everything is relaxed. So obviously things are going to come out.
Interesting. So every dead body has like a very loose asshole.
Yes,
basically
yes,
what
you
you're
can
saying.
say that.
I
yes.
never thought about that. I thought it would be
Yeah.
a muscle that would just kind of naturally stay like constricted unless it's
Unless you tell it to loosen up.
right. I feel like that's the natural state, and the dilation is the thing you have to consciously do. But you're telling me it's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's like without the body, because what is that sympathetic versus? I was just Googling this, like all the functions our body does without thinking has a word, like it's psychosomatic. No, that's not right.
Like
But-
voluntary and involuntary things. Something
Right.
like that, right?
Like your heartbeat. You're not thinking like beat,
Yeah.
beat, beat. It just does it.
Or breathing too.
That too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like clenching your sphincter is one of those.
I'm thinking because I'm,
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right. So going back to the embalming process. So once they're fresh, like they're clean, we start working on their face. We close their eyelids. There's this like plastic eye caps that we put it on their eyelids
To make them look like
to close the eyes.
Oh.
Because we cannot. Because when they're dead, they're half open. Well, one of the first signs of decomposing is that your eyeballs they don't look like eyeballs. They just look flat. Flat. You know how
What do
there's
you
a bit of a sphere in your eyeball?
Yeah.
When you're dead, it just like a deflated balloon ball.
Jesus. Does the iris and pupil still there, but it kind of flattens out?
Yeah, and that's the crazy part about death. Like if someone's dead by just looking at their eyeballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just know it.
Wow.
So yeah, we do our best to close them. So we put like eye caps underneath the eyelid, and the plastic. They're made out of plastic. I'm trying to explain it to you because you look so confused.
Well, yeah.
so
I don't see how that would close the eye.
So you know how there's certain structures on plastic where there's like these little triangles that pops out. So think of it as like a cheese grinder. You know how it kind of pops up, but like in plastic. So we put kind of like those on the eyeball. So when it comes up, it won't go up. It'll stay there. And then other funeral homes do this too. They put glue on the eyelids, so it just looks shut.
Wow.
So we do that. We also shut the mouth, because when you're dead, you can't shut your mouth. It's always
Is that
open.
a glue thing too?
We suture them. There's two ways of doing it: needle injecting, or just good old rope and needles to do
What
it.
is needle injecting?
So there's this gun,
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
made out of wire. You put one on the lower jaw, and you put one on the upper jaw. You close your mouth, and then you try to use the wires to shut it, and then you make it super tight, and then you close the make the wires shorter, and then you put and then you shut the mouth, and you're good to go. And then after that, what they do, there's that portion, or you can just use like a a thread and needle and do the same thing.
Okay.
But there's another procedure where they just go through the nose. So it's hard to do that. Hard to explain it, but like you put the needle under your upper lip and you aim it towards the nose. And when you aim it towards the nose, you try to get the needle. This is like a curved needle. Keep in mind, I haven't done this in years. Yeah, over a year. So you get the needle out through the nose, and then you put the needle on the, what do you want to call it, this part? Not the philtrum.
Septum?
The septum. Yeah, the septum. So you go through the septum, and you go again under the upper jaw, under your upper lip, and then you close it that way.
And you can't see these sutures from the outside?
You can't see it. You can't see it from the outside, which is pretty awesome.
Wow.
And then, this is another thing. Funeral directors love cotton. Cotton is our magic maker.
The fabric of our life.
Because once everything looks good, we put cotton around the mouth to make it look full, to make it look alive. Because, it looks skinny, So we just make it look like...
It's like the opposite of buccal fat removal.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, working at certain funeral homes, they also add cotton on their breasts to make it look like it's alive.
Just under the clothing, not
under
like
the clothing,
inside the body.
Because one thing people don't want to hear this, but the breasts go to the side, So we
even when you're alive.
Yeah, exactly. So we try to make it look natural, like if they were alive. So we put cotton to make it look more robust, for the lack of a better word.
That brings me to a question that we're not done with embalming, but like, how do you choose what kind of outfit the dead wear?
The family chooses.
Okay.
The family chooses.
So depending on the
outfit.
outfit.
This is the annoying part. Some family members make us put clothes of their loved ones when they can't fit these clothes anymore.
What do you do?
We improvise. We do our best to improvise because there's nothing we can do. And if it doesn't work, we just have to tell the family, like, hey, this isn't working. Like, sometimes the families give us a medium-sized shirt when the person is double XL. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
You can't like liposuction some fat out just to fit them in the clothes.
No. So, but the trick that we do is we cut the clothes because in the end, what matters the most is this half. We don't care about the back half.
So embalming is something that's only done for burial where there's like an open casket and
It's
stuff,
also
right?
done for visitations because there's also the procedure of seeing the family, seeing the loved one, and then cremating it afterwards.
Right.
So if you're doing a visitation, they highly recommend embalming. So I'm not done with the embalming. I'll make it as quick as possible. I don't want to annoy you guys. We basically try to find drainage. So we find drainage by cutting your neck and trying to find the carotid in the jugular vein. So
you're draining the blood.
Draining the blood, yeah. Sorry. See,
there's a lot of bodily fluid, so I wasn't sure which one you
So
meant.
draining the blood. So we use the jugular vein to drain out, just for it to come out. And then we use the carotid.
With a needle, or do you just free bleed it all over the
we
table?
With
a tube or
we
something.
find the proper equipment for it. We have the proper equipment for embalmings. There's shears, there's aneurysm hooks, stuff like that.
But when the blood's coming out, is it contained in like a hose, or is it spraying everywhere?
Yes, there is a way that you can contain with a hose, but at the same time, there's other funeral homes where they just let it go because again, we're in a porcelain bed. There's blood going to be everywhere. There's water coming out, so we make sure that the water is always going down.
But you've already cleaned them.
Yeah, we clean it, but
Do you have to clean them again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense. You just said like this is our last bath they'll ever have, so I thought the cleaning was done at the start.
The last bath before the embalming, because after the embalming is done, we wash it again because the embalming fluids and everything. I mean, even though embalming slows down the process of decomposition and all that stuff, it smells.
Are you wearing like PPE during this?
Yes, you do wear PPE.
Like, does it actually remove the smell when you're...
No, it doesn't. So I take a shower afterwards because the smell is strong. The smell is super strong.
Are any of these chemicals...
Carcinogens?
do they
Yes.
create long Okay.
That's another reason why I decided to quit, because I'm thinking, like, if I'm doing this a lot, fuck this. I might as well quit.
Yeah. Are there like people who do a lot of embalming who?
There are people who are career is just nothing but embalming, which I
But
respect.
do they
them.
live a normal life?
Some do, if they wear the right equipment, because a big portion of the embalming process is we need circulation in the room. So we have fresh air coming out, and then we have like a thing to suck out the air as well. So more air, the better. More air circulation, the better.
Gotcha.
All right. We use the jugular vein to eject to take out the blood, right? And then we use the carotid artery to put the embalming fluids in. All right.
So what's the difference between jugular and carotid? They're both veins in the neck, right?
The jugular is a vein. The carotid is an artery.
Oh, I see.
So we aim the embalming fluids down. So it's going down. It's going down. So it's going towards the whole body. And then afterwards, we.
Is it hard to find the vein or the artery?
I have problems. I have trouble finding it.
Seems like it would be hard.
But it's one of those things where the more you do it, the easier it gets. There's two kinds of embalmers. There's the feelers and the seers. The touchers or the seers. There's like there are certain embalmers where they can just know where the carotid and the jugular vein is by just feeling it with your fingertips. And there's other ones where they have to like use their tools so they can see it. And they're like, all right, this is the carotid and this is the jugular.
Like peeling the skin back to actually...
Because you have to go deep. It's deep. Whoa. You have to go under the muscle too.
That's freaky.
Okay. All right. So we do that. I'm going by quick because I can tell that you want to ask me more questions, and this process is long. So we put the embalming fluids down for the body, and then we also go up for the head. We have to be very careful, because if we put too much embalming fluids, it can explode, or it just look like it's gonna explode. You don't want to look like a Sour Patch Kid. So when we're done with that,
explode, like actually you put so much that like skin starts to pop?
That happens. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So when we're done with that, we use this thing called a trocar, which is it's just like a thin metal thing, and at the end it's very pointy. So it kind of looks like a sword, but it's not. And then we stab the stomach and try to aim towards the heart. And this trocar is connected to a tube that's going down the sink. Okay? So what we're doing is we're trying to take out all of the intestines, all of the organs, everything out.
You can actually take out the organs through a trocar?
Yeah.
How wide is this needle?
It's very thin. It's not super thin, but it's like a thin piece of metal that's very long, and you try to suck it out. There's like a thing that we suck it out, and that's what the trocar does. It just sucks everything out. And we do that.
Oh my god.
You asked.
I mean, I'm just shocked that organs can go through a little thin piece of metal.
Oh yeah.
There's no rigid like tissue like cartilage structure that gets stuck in there.
Yeah, it does, and then sometimes when that happens, there's an overflow, and try to do our best to stop that, because then it'll be more messy.
Overflow.
Like it'll get stuck and it'll just come out. So we do
from the other end.
From the other end, it just gets very,
do
very
you have like
messy.
a shop vac or something? Some really high suction thing on
there's
the other
there's
side?
like a high air suction thing that's that's connected to the sink. So we do that, and then we also aim down for the for the reproductive systems, and also what you call it, the like your bladder and all that stuff. We also aim that down that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we're done, we add embalming fluid too. We call it cavity fluid. And that stuff is strong, very strong. Like the only way I can explain how strong it is, it's like, have you ever cut an onion and you cry?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but times 10.
Geez.
Yeah.
Is that some new thing, not formaldehyde?
No, it's still formaldehyde, but it's a different form of formaldehyde liquids, chemicals. It's very strong. It burns the eyes.
Wow.
Sometimes when it gets very strong, I have to go close to a window, start breathing air, because I definitely need it.
Do you use goggles or anything? Eye
Goggles
protection?
help, but it's that strong that it could sometimes just come out. Or sometimes you're breathing it stings.
Yeah.
It stings the nostrils. Like what Anchorman comes from. Have you remember?
I forget that scene.
So then once we're done with that, we wash them, we suture them, we make sure that all the open holes, we close them, and we dry them, and then we're good to go. Like that's the embalming process. And then afterwards we put on the clothes, we put on the makeup, we put them in the casket and get the visitation thing ready.
Wow. All right. So I wanted to maybe segue from the embalming thing because this might sound a little silly, but every horror movie, every TV show I watch that has a morgue scene or a coroner scene, dead body always is doing something a little creepy, like rigor mortis, like moving an arm. Has anything like that ever happened to you when you're working?
There's a thing called death rattle. I tell people about that, and they creeped out by that.
And is it what it sounds like? The body starts shaking for some reason?
No. Let's just say you move the body a certain way, and you hear them, like, sounds like they're breathing, like,
whoa.
And
I
it's
didn't know
very
that's
creepy.
what it was called.
Very creepy, but then the more you think about it, the science behind it's just like, kind of think of it like a squeeze box. Like there's certain air in the lungs still, and then if you move it a certain way, air is going to come out or air is going to come in, and then if you move it another way, the same thing. It's kind of like an accordion in some way.
And it's actually coming through there like
you hear
chords, so it sounds like actual living sounds. Oh, that's freaky.
Yeah, so that happens. There's also another weird thing where, like, when you start embalming it and you move a certain muscle, like you can do it right now with your arm. Like if you move this, going close to the wrist, your fingertips starts moving by itself.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's freaky.
So when you move certain muscles, they start moving by itself. But you have to think about it. It's like you're moving a certain muscle, and that's why they're moving. See, like if you put more pressure, it starts making like a fist.
So yeah, you've always been able to see the scientific reason for stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Totally.
How about just like the vibe that maybe something wasn't quite kosher?
The crematory I used to work at, I think that place was haunted.
Oh yeah.
Big time. I never seen anything. I never seen a ghost or anything. But when I get the vibe for something I'm being watched, I think I'm being watched. So my boss decided to have like cameras in the crematory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like kind of like Ghost Adventures, there's always an orb. There's an orb here. There's an orb there. At night, that whole place, that whole crematory, orbs everywhere.
And you can see them with your eyes?
Yeah, we can see it through our eyes. At first, we thought they were like dust particles because it gets very dusty.
Yeah.
But like the room is like during daylight, we close the lights and everything. It's one of those lights where it automatically turns on, or you turn it on by yourself. I forget. But like, there's not that many dust particles a day, and it's very dark because we close and turn off the lights. But at night, those dust particles at night. It's like a rave, dude. Bunch of like orbs everywhere. But anyways, so again, we get calls in the middle of the night. We go to the crematory to pick up the van and go there. And there's this, and like we turn on the light and it's connected to another room. And that room is dark, right? Maybe it's logical, maybe, I'm already scared or like it's already in the middle of the night. But I always get this vibe to not look into the other room because something is watching me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope. I just go straight ahead, look straight ahead, even though there's thing right there. I just look straight ahead. Another thing that's kind of creepy is like there is certain air coming in and out, and we hang out in this room, like this office room, and the door's closed but not fully closed. Just like it's there. Out of nowhere, sometimes the door just shuts very loudly. And there's no air. I mean, there is some air coming out, like air circulation for that to happen.
Yeah.
But for it to hit aggressive is like, fuck, dude. We're being fooled around by ghosts or something. What else?
Cool. Well, you told one story, the guy who shot himself. Like, there's
Yeah.
got to be at least a couple more.
Oh,
Do you have any?
I got several. There was one guy died in the toilet. Boxers were still by his ankle.
Was it a suicide again?
I think it was. I think he died in the toilet, constipation or something.
Whoa.
Yeah. So another reason I'm annoyed because there was bodily fluids involved as well. And keep in mind, we do this while wearing a suit.
A full-on suit and tie and jacket. Why is that? Is this a custom
like a customer service thing? Like, we care about your loved one.
That's crazy.
I know, which annoys me because I'm doing my best to take care of the suit because it's not a fancy suit, but like I care about the suit.
And you obviously have to get blood on it sometimes.
Yeah, so that's why we take it to the dry cleaners and all that stuff.
They can wash blood out of a suit?
Yeah, but like we also do our best to clean it ourselves. I think Coca-Cola is a great way to take out blood. Future tips for future killers out there.
Oh my God.
Okay, so the logistics of this room was very uncomfortable because like his bathroom was on the corner of the room, but there wasn't that much space. And once you open the door, it's the kitchen. So we didn't have enough space to put the cot in the bathroom, so we had to put it on the kitchen. So we had to find a way to move this guy that's on the toilet and put it on the cot. Okay. No, I'm not.
Was he a big guy?
Yes, he's a big guy. This is where I'm saying I'm not trying to body shame people or anything. However, when you're dead, it gets a little bit annoying because his body type was one of those body types where his legs are skinny or fit.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a belly so high, like so big. Like his legs did not coordinate with his body.
Yeah, so he was kind of top heavy.
Oh, way top heavy. So we grabbed the underwear. My coworker and I thought it would be best if we put the underwear back on so we can use the underwear, like the grip of the underwear, as leverage to move him with the arm and the leg as well.
It's risky. What if you rip the underwear?
Oh, we don't care. The underwear is underwear.
Yeah, I don't mean for the sake of the underwear, but if it just it tears off and he falls to the ground or something.
It took a long time for us to move him from the toilet to the bathroom. I mean, maybe it felt like a long time. Maybe it wasn't that long, but it was just very annoying. Again, cops were there. They didn't see it. They were again making it more harder for us. It's like, all right, we need to take pictures. I was like, dude, can't you see that we're doing something? Maybe we'll take pictures after the situation. So
was this a younger guy? Like, it wasn't someone dying of natural causes?
Oh, he was an old guy.
Oh,
like
he was
60 years old,
okay.
living by himself.
Huh.
No
No signs of trauma.
No, not that I saw. Maybe there were some signs down there, but I didn't see. But anyway, so we moved out. It got messy because there was fecal matter, but luckily we used like plastic sheets and like cloth sheets to help us move the body from the toilet to the cot. Keep in mind there was a moment between while we did that the body kind of went to the floor, and that could have made things better because we kind of like used the floor to move it. So I don't know. So we did that, and then afterwards just trying to dolly him up, because that's another thing that's hard to do. I mean, maybe it's easy, maybe it's hard, but it gets annoying because you're trying to respect the surroundings, like trying to respect the property. We put the body in the cot. We put the belts that make sure that he's very well put in, and then we try to pick him up like as a dolly and try to move him out. Keep in mind he's top heavy, so my colleague and I, we grab the cot from the top, and both of us do it because it's hard to do it by ourselves. I mean, we can, but it's so annoying. So we do that. We get the cot. We dolly up towards the cot because the hallways are very narrow, so we have to just do that. And then we go outside, put the cot down, and then we lift up the cot and we take it to the van, and we're good to go. There's that story.
So far, the stories have all been at people's houses. Is that like 99% of your calls? Do you ever have to go to a
nursing home ones.
scene? Okay, nursing home.
Yeah, nursing homes are easy.
Yeah, they're kind of designed for easy access.
Sometimes
right?
it's annoying because, like, they have a roommate that's still alive, and the roommate's asking questions like, "What happened to Johnny? Is Johnny around?"
Oh my god!
And like, it sucks because sometimes like they have dementia, or sometimes they're in a worse situation and they start acting their trauma is speaking out. It's like, "They're trying to kill me. Take me with you."
Oh my gosh! What about like just out in the world, like a car accident or something? Would you get a call for that, or would it have to go straight to the coroner or something?
It goes straight to the coroner.
Okay, so funeral homes get the call where it's open and shut case. They died and where they live or whatnot. Wow.
Yeah.
I'll
say this other story. I went to a nursing home. I thought it was very weird. Pick up the body. This person was a bit obese, So like I can do it. I can normally do it myself when it's obese. Like, I just use the bed sheets and I just use it to help me out, like roll it and help me. But I guess the nurse there at the nursing home was very persistent and wanted to help. And I'm like, all right, sure. And she was younger than me. She was like in her 20s. She had the attire. I just think it's very funny. I didn't judge her at the time. I just think it was very odd. She decided to be on top of this dead body and like to go around her and push her to help me. But there was a moment where she was on top of it. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Like straddling it? Like,
yeah, kind of. Like it was on top and then moved to the side.
Cool.
Yeah, it was very
Did you ask for that nurse's number?
No.
Just kidding. Oh, actually, that reminds me of another question. Without getting into details, did your work in the funeral industry like affect your relationship with your partner at the time? How did they feel about you having that job? Was it like gross to them? Or?
At the time I didn't think about it, but the more I contemplate now that I'm out, I really do think it affected our relationship very strongly. And it was just for the fact that we didn't have time for ourselves because I was always working.
Yeah.
And then when we had time that we both were mutually off, one of us were tired, so we just did nothing, or something else came up, something got planned out. So
yeah, I remember those years you were always on call like every other weekend, and you would get these like 2 a.m. calls, right, and have to leave. So you can't really relax when you're on call because you have to.
No, you can't.
Would you be in your suit already? Like
no, I just changed very quickly.
Okay. But so besides the time aspect, it wasn't like, oh, you come home smelling like blood. It's
no,
creepy.
Luckily she didn't care about that. But I always took a shower and cleaned and everything, so it wasn't like the physical aspects of that. I also did my best not to tell her what I've experienced because it's a lot. Yeah. But I did go through some emotional stuff where I suffered in silence because I didn't want to make her know these stuff because I know these kinds of stories can affect someone else too. Like, as a crematory, I cremated a lot of things or a lot of bodies from different ages, preemies, babies, young kids, and it does hit a toll on you. Like, when you're working and you're like desensitized by it, but like once you start thinking about it, it's like, geez, I cremated a baby.
What do you think of cremation versus burial?
I like it, but I'm trying to think the scientific portions of it, like.
But you like cremation?
Yeah, I do like cremation. Like the benefit of so the thing that people will agree, but land is limited, and
exactly
the human population is increasing more and more. And if we're only going to do traditional, we won't have enough space.
Totally.
So I prefer cremation, but the problem with cremation is this: it's hurting the atmosphere because all that heat, it has to go somewhere.
And soot and ash and right, like all the.
Oh yeah,
it's got to be a lot of byproducts of the cremation.
It's very high. What I do like is I like what the state of Washington is doing, where you can decompose and use the decomposition of your body as soil or as a what you call it, for your
like
plant.
Compost.
Compost. It could be compost for your plant.
Wow.
So I prefer that. I like that a lot.
That's pretty interesting. It sounds kind of like returning to nature.
Exactly, the philosophical part.
But do they just let it naturally decompose?
Yeah, they put some certain chemicals with it, but the procedure of it is like 2 to 3 months. So the first month it's just getting adjusted, and the second and third month is where the decomposition starts. From what I remember. I mean, I'm simplifying it, but yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. Is it just Washington that's doing it?
Yeah, state of Washington's doing it. I wish other states did it more often. I mean, the big business that does that is in the state of Washington, and I think the laws in Washington state are much more open.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I bring up this, because I know you're not Indian, but you do like Indian culture. One of the things that Indian people do is they cremate the body outside. They put a lot of logs and fire, and they just do it outside.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I like that. It's a cool idea. And in the process, it's much more natural, and it's not going to take 2 hours to cremate. It's going to take a whole day,
Still releasing a lot of
carbon.
Emissions, carbon into the air.
Yeah, that's true, but I think that's better compared to using a machine and just blasting everything, like heat,
Yeah.
But the reason I'm bringing that up is, wouldn't it be cool if we did that in America, in the United States? Like, did you watch the movie Captain Fantastic with Viggo Mortensen?
No.
And his kids? Well, like a bunch of kids, like...
No, I haven't.
Okay, well...
Never even heard of it.
Spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, they decided to cremate their wife, because their wife died. I mean, his wife, the mom. And they decided to cremate it in the state of Washington, like in some national park. And they just used, what Indians do. They just used a lot of logs and they just kept on burning it. And I think it would be nice if America did stuff like that more regularly. Or what's the Vikings thing called? Burial Viking?
Burial at sea or something.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Well, that's still involving fire. You know what I really like for ecological reasons? Tibetan sky burial.
Dude, me too.
You just let the vultures take the body.
Did you know that vultures are endangered species?
No, but I mean, it doesn't surprise me. They seem pretty rare.
But doing that could help the population of vultures.
We should introduce vultures all over the planet.
Yes.
There's not enough vultures in North America. Eddie Soldier. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of all the questions I had.
Okay.
I think it's nice to have a short episode once in a while.
Oh, cool.
50 minutes to an hour, probably actual usable content. I learned a lot. Thank you for being so open and honest. And I think once you started talking, you did want to talk about it. You had some stories I've never heard before and a perspective I've never heard from you before. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to hear about it.
Well, thank you for the good questions.
You're welcome.
All right.
This has been the ODcast Special Edition. Ask a funeral director anything. Former funeral director.
Subreddit.
All right. I think we'll say goodbye here and see you all in the next episode.
I hope we weren't a bore.
I don't think we were. Have a spooky Halloween if we are putting this out around Halloween. I don't know exactly when it's going to go up, but you'll see it soon.
Bye.